and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of the Switch It Up Show. My name is Glenn, and I'm here to talk to you about all types of wonderful Switch games, but I can't do that alone, not in this spooky time of season, and that's why I am joined by the wonderful, caring, and of course spooky Seth Trav.
Hey, my guy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, my man. I know you had a rough day, so I'm gonna give you a moment here to relax with these sweet, sweet tunes. Anamanaguchi, ladies and gentlemen. By all means, do yourself a favor. Check out the links in the show notes to find all of the tunes that we use here in the Switch It Up Show. And you know, we're just kind of keeping the pedal to the metal today. We're going to dive right into the first review, and I chose that verb specifically, dive, because my first game, my only game this episode, is going to be Aqua Lungers. Aqua Lungers.
Aqua Lungers.
Aqua Lungers.
Like
Yes.
the song.
Like the song?
Hey, Aqua Lung.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Well, this game right now is available in the Nintendo eShop for $14.99. Tipping the scales a little bit there. You are eligible for up to 75 golden coins when you make this purchase. Let me go ahead and hit you with a little bit of the synopsis. When treasure is at stake, there are no heroes. Race your way through challenging stages while contending with deadly creatures and dastardly opponents to collect the most treasure. While everyone's goal is the same, each player is afforded several options to get an edge over their competitors. Players can use their speed and agility to outpace and evade their opponents, while others might use devastating attacks to slow them down and steal their hard-earned goods. If you're the type that prefers the solo experience or wants to get some experience in before challenging your friends, fear not. Aqua Lungers can be played with as few as one player. In single player, Aqua Lungers retains the gold collecting mechanic while increasing the penalty for deaths in each level. This shifts the challenge from PvP racing to PvE survival. From the wonderful people at Warped Core Studio. This game is for up to 4 players. You can play it in tabletop, TV, or handheld mode. Rated E for fantasy, violence, and mild blood. Mild, ladies and gentlemen.
Very mild.
Yes. This game is fun, but the problem is that this is a it's a multiplayer game. It's almost like something like one of those battle modes in Mario Kart, where it'd be like you and like 3 friends, and you basically like had a goal that you had to achieve in order to win. And in this, you're all different divers, and you dive into the ocean, this one ocean stage, and you have to go find different treasure, different places. There's some treasure chests that are under the water. There's enemies you can kill, and you can get treasure. And then there's like a boss, like a big guy who you can kind of stun, and he's also going around and collecting treasure as well. And everybody kind of, has like a goal that they have to hit up at the top of the screen. It says you need to collect this much treasure. Whoever gets that much treasure first wins. The graphics in this are like really, really good, super bright and vibrant. The enemy design is really cool. You have like a giant squid. You have stingrays. There's one that even takes place in like the haunted underground. There's a really, really good variety in terms of like different stages, and just like the levels look fun. They almost look like something you would have seen in like one of those games in Nick Arcade, if you remember that.
Classic.
Yeah, it just look good. Like the graphics are good, the gameplay is fun, but the problem is like you can play this single player, but I really don't understand the reasoning as like why you would want to, because they're really just giving you like a quota that you have to meet, and you're not racing against anybody. So there's no time limit. It's just you're going and collecting that stuff. So if you maybe want to practice a little bit to get a handle of the controls, but I feel like the controls are pretty spot on. Like there's no real like trick to anything. But maybe if you want to kind of experiment with different ways that you can attack the boss and stuff like that, or maybe fight some of the enemies, you just want to practice, you can certainly do that. But I feel like this is definitely a game that, it's designed for multiplayer. It would shine with multiplayer. And right now, we find ourselves in, in a scary time where you don't probably have that many people over to play this game. So for the moment, I don't know if Aqualungers can really be enjoyed to the fullest effect. It'd be cool if there was like a lobby, like it was multiplayer online, because then you could just jump in there and play with a whole bunch of people. But right now, it's more of like a couch experience to just have a bunch of people. Yeah. But it's fun. It's just like a cool little racing, die for treasure, get it as fast as you can. But there's a lot of variety there and a lot of really cool enemies. So I really like Aqualungers. It's $14.99. If you have 4 people in your household that you can play this with, I would recommend it. I think it's good. The price I feel like might be a little, at first glance, might be a little steep. Just because, there's really not that much in terms of what you're doing, but it might be the same type of task over and over again. But the settings, are pretty vast. Each level looks much different than the last, and the enemy design is really cool. So I think it's good. I'm happy with this game. I'm gonna give this a 3.5 out of 5.
That's not too bad.
No, man,
not too bad at all.
I had a good time with it. I feel like it's hard. You can't play this game by yourself, man. You need people.
Yeah. Speaking of people, my game involves a full club. It's called Wintermore Tactics Club. It's $19.99, and you get 100 gold coins when you purchase it digitally. It is also available now. Wintermore Tactics Club is a story about surviving high school with gameplay inspired by tactics RPGs and visual novels. It was hard enough for Alicia at the famed Wintermore Academy before it erupted into a snowball war. Now her club's only hope is to transform from nerdy nobodies into fantasy heroes. Unravel a reality-bending mystery, test your strategic mettle against an avalanche of colorful characters, and don't forget to make friends. Unlock your potential, discover the power of 7 playable characters and dozens of unlockable upgrades across more than 40 battles. Explore the school, get to know Wintermore in a visual novel-inspired gameplay. Break down the walls between high school cliques, such as the Psychic Detectives and the Young Monarchs. Make new friends, write tabletop campaigns to help students overcome their personal problems, and discover their fantasy selves as your club grows. It's from our friends over at Versus Evil and made by the people over at EVC. And it's only 1 player. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, this is a tactics RPG game, but it really does harken much more along the lines of a visual novel. And in playing this, I actually thought of you an awful lot, because I know you love a good visual novel, and you're not necessarily down with the tactics RPG or the strategy RPG style games. And I feel like this game really does a good blend of that. It's much more focused on the story, much more focused on doing character interactions and making these small decisions that maybe are affecting the game. I didn't play through it twice, so I don't know if any of the choices I was making was actually affecting anything. But it does definitely lean heavier to a sort of high school coming of age story experience, with this backdrop of needing to have essentially D&D battles against other clubs, because there's this wild sort of Harry Potter-ish style mythic, you've got to be the top club in this snowball fight of the ages to be able to keep being a club and be with your friends and all that. It's a decent story, and it's a good tween sort of coming of age kind of thing. Where I think the game lacks is definitely more of the RPG style that they're using in this game. One of the things that I really didn't like was the fact that the characters don't actually level up. I felt like that was odd. If they made a sequel to this, I'd like for it to have more of an RPG element to it, more classic RPG. When they say unlockable upgrades, those are essentially that's really the only way you can upgrade your character is by unlocking essentially different things that you can slot into 1 or 2 positions on your character to give them a slight boost. So that was a little disappointing. But overall, visually, I liked it. The sound was really fun. The character animations, the styles, like it was good. It was interesting, and I thought that it did a good amount of things right. Just sort of slumped down once it got into the more actual gameplay aspects of it. So because of that, I am going to give Wintermore Tactics Club a 4 out of 5.
That's a pretty high praise, my man.
It is, and that's because it is doing a good job of blending together two genres. Like I said, it's much more of a visual novel, and if you go into it expecting it to be more of a visual novel and more of this, like, oh, you walk around to read the text, because that's your main focus, I think you'll have a good time.
Well, that's the beauty of this show and all of the shows on the Preach Network, my man. You come for one thing and we might give you another. We have a little bit of everything, whether it be Nintendo Switch reviews here on the Switch It Up show, the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror marathon over on the Preachcast, and of course, in just, 13 short days, the launch of Jump Scare, a new gateway horror podcast right here. We bring a little bit of everything to the table, because if things ever get boring, you can always switch it up.